Well, hello to the non-existent viewers. So today we're going to read Siblings of Light, as you can see on your screen. I'm sending this through Google Hangout, and well, yeah. Let's see here. Siblings of Light is a backstory to one of a few of the characters, two of the characters in City of Light, and I'm going to see if this is live now. Let's see. It seems to be live. Yeah, it's live. It's live and it sounds pretty fine. So let's continue. So yeah, this book's Frederick and his sister. The sister is unnamed in the City of Light as of yet, but I will name her. Read works, parts of City of Light when I get to it, and so what's happened to them before the China incident. It starts in his childhood and ends before the end of City of Light ends. So yeah, it contains incest and violence and all of that jazz too. So yeah, here's a chapters the first chapter is done. I've started on the second chapter. Anyway, let's see. I'm still recording also, so this is going to work. Anyway, Chapter 1. Childhood. Innocence. Lucius sat on the bench, resting. He had been running for some time now. Steps were heard from behind him. He knew he needed to move not to meet with a grim fate. But the sun and all the running has taken its toll on him. He could not move. The footsteps stopped, and water started raining down on his back. Ha! Now I got you! It was his elder sister, Corinna Lucius. I ran out of water in my gun. It's not fair. Frederick was tired and now very, very wet. You played a game and I won. Corinna slapped his little brother on his back, and the boy made a pained sound. I won, and I did not even get wet. Can you not let me win even once? Frederick was tired of always losing to his sister. Come on, bro. Let's go get some ice cream from the freezer, Corinna said, and put a water rifle on her shoulder, dislodging the water canister. Her white dress became dark and then transparent in a matter of seconds. Frederick looked at his nine-year-old older sister. He started to giggle at what had just happened. Frederick and Corinna sat opposite each other towards the short end of the table that was closest to the window of the dining room, eating ice cream. The walled garden outside the window looked beautiful in the afternoon sun. Who is that? Corinna said and looked out the window. Frederick looked up from his ice cream and out the window and down the garden towards the entrance of the premise. A woman with red hair was walking up the path towards the house. House? I do not know, Frederick said and took a spoonful of ice cream. Perhaps we should call for father? No need, his father said. No, his sister. His sister said, and pushed the spoon into the ice cream in her bowl and stood up, swinging her dark brown hair over her shoulder. He's meeting her now. Frederick stood up and walked over to the window. The woman handed over a briefcase to their father. It seemed like They had a heated discussion over something. Should probably rework this sentence, emphasize that it was a woman and a father that had a discussion. Anyway, I wonder, I wonder what they're talk. I wonder what they're talking about. Frederick's prompted. Who cares? Let's continue eating our ice cream. They glanced at each other for a moment. They were so alike: brown hair, brown eyes, it's the same facial structure. In little less than a year, Corina would lose um, her hair color, not even being able, only being able to grow pure white. In 2 years, Frederick would fall to the same condition. 9 months later, 6 years till the China incident. Your brother is going for a trip for about a fortnight, Frederick's father, Sylvanus, said, looking at his daughter and shoving a piece of beef into his mouth. The siblings looked at the father inquisitively. Looked at the siblings looked at their father inquisitively. I'm going to remodel your room, Frederick, and I thought that it would be good to have you out of the house. Also, you will stay at your cousin's place. You can catch up and play. It is summer after all. School is out in 2 weeks, Krina said and shoved a fork full of food into her mouth. And why is he going alone and not me too? Frederick sat in silence and listened to the conversation, slowly eating his food. I thought that you could help out decorating your brother's room. Sure, fine, Karina smiled, like she was plotting something. The dinner room felt more empty than before. Sylvanus served food on the table and sat down opposite his daughter. I think I might have burnt excuse me. I think I might have burnt the food a little. Hope it doesn't taste too bad. He looked worried, not meeting her eyes. I'm sure it's fine. Rina took a bite of the food. Not that bad. Her father smiled and put a forkful of food and put a forkful full of food and put it in his mouth. That should just be reworked. Period. Dinner progressed, and they talked about back and forth about the changes that were going to be made to Frederick's room, but something was wrong. Queena was starting to sway back and forth, having a hard time sitting straight. She started. I feel dizzy. Sylvana stood up and walked around the table and stopped her from falling over. He picked her up in his arms and said, I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do. He walked out of the room, down the hallway, and pushed open the door to his study with his foot. He lay Corina down on a hospital-style bed that was there. He did not look at the woman sitting in the chair. Is she okay? The woman said. For now, Sylvanus said, stroking the hair out of the little girl's face. For now. The woman stood up and unlocked the wheels with one of her feet and started pushing the bed out of the room, Sylvanus in tow. They entered the lift at the center of the mansion. The woman pushed the button to go into the big underground vault. The door closed and the lift buzzed down toward into the depth. When the door opened, they were met by a heavy door in solid metal, with a keyhole and a wheel. The man took out a key, took out his key ring and unlocked it with one of the keys on it. Then spun the wheel, and the door slid open, slid to the side with a rattle. In the big room that was presented to them was a vast machine that looked like it was made of uncorroded brass. A woman pushed a bed into the room and said, "So this is the device, built to spec?" "Yes," the man said, opening a door on the front of the machine. He took out a metal cube-shaped frame with screws. He walked back to the woman, who seemed in awe of the creation. "Here," the man said, and gave the woman the frame. "So basically you built it. So you actually built it. I'm impressed by it, I must say." The woman took the head stabilizer and placed it on the bed, slowly lifting the limp girl into a sitting position. "Hold her while I strip her." Sylvanus steadied his daughter's head and torso, and watched the woman take off his daughter's clothes. It was you who gave me the blueprints, schematics, and information on how to build it." He eyed the woman. I've never seen anything like this before. Where did you get the blueprints?" The woman stopped what she was doing for a moment and looked up at him, her bright green eyes meeting his brown. She looked stern. That is none of your concern. You get them. You get your money. I get to put half of human knowledge into each of your children. That's the deal. That was the deal." Sylvanus nodded, looking at his daughter. "Everything will be okay," he thought to himself. Where's the feeding tube?" the woman asked. Sylvanus nodded over to a stainless steel working bench 2 meters away. The woman walked over to it and put on a pair of examiner's gloves from a box that was on the bench, and then picked up a thin tube that was wrapped in a plastic bag, and walked back to the bed with a girl on it. She unwrapped the tube and carefully inserted it into Corina's nose. It was a tense moment as Sylvanus and the woman listened to the unconscious girl's breathing. The woman pushed the tube in and then nodded. They both relaxed. "Well, the preparations are almost done," the woman said, and fastened the head stabilizer. This will do. We can do final adjustments when she's in the device." Sylvanus picked up his daughter and put her in the seat that was behind the door of the device. The head stabilizer was fastened with clips to the guide rails in the chamber. He moved out of the way so the woman could do the final adjustments and position the girl, putting a bionic sensor strap around the girl's chest and strapping down the girl's hands and feet. Sylvanus had brought the briefcase out from under one of the benches and walked over to the woman, who took it and opened it. In it was a vast array of tubes, syringes, and 10 storage crystals, 2 of which were green in color, the rest perfectly transparent to the human eye. The woman took the woman took off. Is it two? It says two F's there. Took off one of her gloves and picked up one of the green crystals and looked at Sylvanus. "Pick 4 other crystals except the green one." Corina woke up with a gasp. She saw the familiar ceiling of her room and the pink curtains that framed the bed. but she was accustomed to. She felt ill. She was confused. The last thing she remembers was sitting down for dinner. No, she was building a bomb. No, she was everything in her head spun round and round. Images, feelings, places. None of it made any sense. She screamed, grabbing her head, wanting to tear it open. The door opened, and in came Sylvanus Lucius, rushing. He grabbed his daughter around her shoulders. Karina! Karina, are you okay? Karina, are you okay? Karina stared into her father's eyes. She stopped screaming. She realized that this man was the cause of what had happened to her. No, I'm not okay. Father, she her tears started to flow down her face. Fix that later. You did this to me. You fucking did this to me, Sylvanus. Sylvanus hugged his daughter. I'm so sorry, but this is for the best. Trust me. 10 months later. Sylvanus watched the monitors in the vast vault. The machine hummed with his son inside. He was really unaware of his surroundings. Only the flickering of the graphs and numbers on the screen was in his world. Red. Something did not feel right. Red. A scream. The numbers on the screen became red. The graphs were behaving erratically. He blinked fast and shook his head. Shit. The scream had come from the machine. He ran over to the machine. This was not happening. The machine should have kept him under. What the fuck? Sylvanus said. What the fuck is happening? He picked up his phone from his inner pocket and poked at it for a few moments. He put it up to his ear. It's me, Sylvanus said. Well, the subject has bloody woken up. What do I do? A few moments of silence. Are you fucking shitting me? Get your fucking arse over here. He threw the phone on the floor. It shattered on impact. More screams. Sylvanus put his hand on the door and sighed before he turned around and walked towards the vault door. Well, that was the first chapter, and we can read the start of chapter 2. Adolescence. Chapter 2. Adolescence. Freak show. Frederick's pupils widened as the drugs took effect. It was the same every 4 hours. Everything to keep the hallucinations and panic attacks at bay. He could feel the world around him become less vivid. Karina watched him with a grim expression from across the table. I think I'm fine now. Frederick feigned a smile at the white-haired girl. I'm getting better and better all the time. The hallucinations are almost gone, the doctor said. Sylvanus entered the small white room with the makeup, mirrors, and other things needed for TV. Karina looked at Sylvanus. Was it worth it? Fucking up your own children, father? Well, that's basically everything I've got. Yeah, so I don't know anything more I can do except basically this is basically everything I've written on this. It's going to the freak show is basically an intermission before they are sent off to China to investigate something buried. Always something buried, isn't it? Yeah, And that is when basically shit happens and they think you're going to be executed and stuff. It's pretty fucked up, basically. So, without further ado, I'll bid you farewell and say good night to you all, because mm, it's basically 7 in the evening soon. 1856 o'clock. So if anyone has any questions, just leave it in the comment sections below, and I will come back to your questions later. So this has been a live broadcast, and I have 0 viewers. So yeah, have a nice one. Goodbye.